man, since I've talked to you, all hell is broken loose.
Yeah.
They're thinking about arresting Trump. It seems like the government is just gone mad, and they're tripling and quadrupling down on failed policies in Ukraine and in Africa and in Asia. What is going on, and what is on the mind of these lunatic people who are at the helm of the car in Washington?
You've got to wonder if somebody is deliberately trying to, set the world on fire. That this is a deliberate plan. But I've been on government long enough to see these kinds of disasters as they unfold to realize that usually it's not because of a plan; it's just because of genuine incompetence and short-sightedness. There is no strategic vision guiding anything that's taking place right now. Uh, and what do I mean by strategic vision? If the goal of the United States is to remain the preeminent economic and military power in the world, then how do we do that? Well, it would seem to me one of the strategies would be to make sure that we have most countries that are supporting us and in our camp. That would be number one. Number two, that we've got the vast majority of countries willing to use our currency and to let us operate as the international standard for financial and economic exchanges. But what we've done instead, and let's say from a standpoint of military, that we want to make sure that we are so potent militarily that no one could dare challenge us. Those would be, let's call those the strategic vision. Well, what do we have? Let's start on the military side. We provoked a fight with Russia using Ukraine as a proxy. And this is something the United States has done for the last 60 years, going back to Vietnam. And in the course of this, we have completely emptied, it would seem, our storehouses of ammunition, particularly 155 millimeter artillery shells and HIMARS missiles. So we've emptied them out. We've had little effect on the battlefield in Ukraine. So what we demonstrated is that our weapons are not necessarily the best, the most effective, and they're certainly not Wunderwaffen, wonder weapons that change the course of time. On the economic front, we decided to impose sanctions on Russia, which is the most resource-rich country in the world, and in the course of that, found out that Russia's sufficient and that Russia has actually things we need, like uranium, among others, and oil and gas that are critical to Europe's economic survival. Instead, we not only isolate Russia, try to punish Russia, but then in the course of this, enable Russia and China to forge a relationship that they have not had since Russia and China existed as countries. They have never had the kind of cooperative relationship that we see them in right now. And in fact, to the television to my right here, the Putin-Xi press conference is going live right now in Moscow. And they just signed an agreement between each other. It's hugs and kisses all around. So the United States now has succeeded in joining the largest, or the second largest country in the world, which has a major, enormous industrial capability and is a critical supplier to the United States, which is China, with Russia, which is ample supplies of oil and gas that China needs, but more importantly, Russia provides weapon systems that China needs. So it's a marriage made in heaven. And now with the union of those two countries, the United States is now number 3, number 4. We're at a clear disadvantage because China and Russia have now joined forces, which was something that U.S. strategic policy tried to prevent, going back to Richard Nixon's visit to China in 1972. So on the economic front, on the military front, and then on the political front, the United States coming across as a bully. If we don't like what you're doing, we're gonna cut off your money. Well, in the process of that, more and more countries are saying, I don't want to be under that kind of pressure. I'm going to find an alternative. And so I think it was Indonesia yesterday. The president of Indonesia just announced, screw MasterCard and Visa. We're getting rid of those. We're going to use our own card or a mirror card, something that the Russians produce, or the Chinese also have a credit card. We're going to go with that. Well, all of a sudden, the U.S. control of the world economy is slipping away. And that's been important for the U.S. economy domestically, because we've been able to finance our economy borrowing money from foreigners. And they've borrowed money because they thought the United States as the reserve currency was the safe place where they could invest their money. That's gone. That has changed. So, yeah, it's a mess is the easiest way to put it.